Background. My husband and I have been married for 5 years. We own a beautiful vacation home on the beach that we built ourselves and use throughout the year. My in-laws have always been welcome guests, visiting for a few weeks here and there and contributing financially towards maintenance costs. Last month, my in-laws suddenly announced they were selling their house to downsize and move into a tiny condo. Apparently, they've been secretly harboring this idea for months, never mentioning it to me or my husband. They plan to close on the sale in 2 weeks and then move into our vacation home for 6 months while they figure things out. I was floored. This house is our sanctuary, not a retirement home extension. We use it frequently, have friends and family booked to visit throughout the year, and rely on the income it generates during peak season. My in-laws, on the other hand, haven't lifted a finger on the property themselves and contributed only minimally. My husband, bless his sweetheart, is more understanding. He feels bad for his parents and believes we can make it work. His in-laws, sensing my resistance, are now guilt-tripping us, claiming they have nowhere else to go and offering to pay significantly more than their usual contribution. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let them move in? On one hand, I feel obligated to help families in need, but on the other, this feels like an outrageous imposition on our personal space and finances. Relevant comments. More on relationship with in-laws. My relationship with them is strained because this is not the first time they have grossly overstepped. This had led to many fights between my husband and me. My husband sees no wrong in their behavior and thinks we should just help them. Every time they're at the vacation home, they've commented on how much they love it and would love to live in a place like this at retirement. So I feel this was a very intentional move on their part. Not letting them stay will create conflict in my marriage, but I'm pretty positive that they will never leave if we let them move in. What else have they done? On our first marriage anniversary, they gifted us a chicken. We lived in an apartment at the time. On Valentine's Day, the second year, they showed up at our house mid-afternoon because they thought it would be special to spend the night with us. On the birth of our daughter, my mother-in-law refused to leave the delivery room until I had the nurse drag her out. And then she sobbed obnoxiously loud in the hallway outside the room. When COVID happens, she ordered us cases and cases of beans and other canned food to help us prep for the apocalypse and then sent us the bill. My mother-in-law demands all holidays with them and shows up unannounced to my parents, who are 4 hours away each holiday we spend with them, and forces us out of my bedroom, and we sleep on the pull-out sofa. The whole visit. My mother-in-law demanded my husband go to her house last year to fix something on our daughter's birthday, and then kept him there till after the birthday party was over, and then had a birthday party. She planned for my daughter at her house the next day. Our second daughter's birth was similar, where she sobbed and instantly FaceTimed my husband. Since I refused to let her into my delivery room, she sent a mixed nuts package to my parents at Christmas last year, knowing my dad is deathly allergic to tree nuts. I could go on and on. Update. We co-own the beach house. We bought it in 2020 when interest rates were super low before houses skyrocketed. The in-laws have helped us with projects and pay for a few things, but so do my parents. So we have never thought of their contribution as anything but help from parents. They had their annual Old Farts Christmas party. Their words, not mine. There this past December and had the place for a week free of charge for them and all their guests. So they definitely have gotten plenty of use out of it. We had a come to Jesus moment yesterday, and I was the asshole to my husband. I told him I was done and I wasn't even entertaining them staying there, as it's our business. And this is bad business. I basically told him I was over his mom, and it was at the point, I'm about to peace out because I can't handle her crap anymore. Previous to this, I was no contact with her and would entertain them when they'd come to visit. They never stayed at our house as we live relatively close to them. He still has no clue if they're truly selling their house, if they're upside on bills or they're just assholes. But I honestly don't care. My parents are immigrants and own a restaurant and have worked their asses off to create a fantastic life for me and my siblings. They also taught us the value of money and working hard for the things we have. The vacation home was bought cheap, but 90% of the renovations were done by me. During my free time, renovations are my true love. Nursing pays the bills. I love it too, but it doesn't fill the creative cup. I told him he'd lose the house to his parents over my dead body. And if he feels the need to financially set them up, he can do so with extra money he earns from picking up shifts. Also a nurse. Basically, I told him their failure was not an emergency on my part. They have always kept up with the Jones and spent exorbitantly, so they might be broke. And again, I don't care. I have barely tolerated his mom for the past few years. I'll be cordial because I was raised well, but I'm over-tolerating their nonsense. I will say he does see all this crap she pulls, but he was raised that mom knows best. He's Puerto Rican, so this is partially cultural. But I'm done. I worked yesterday and busted my ass and then drove the kids to the beach house last night and picked up dinner, and we are there. And I just thought, hell no. So time will tell. But he called his parents and on speakerphone told them they couldn't stay, but the offer to condo hunt is still open. But he needs to know the price range and all that jazz. His mom cried and I flipped the phone off. So, as of this moment, it's not happening. I also told him if it's a problem, he can quit claiming the beach house and I'll cover the expenses and manage it myself. Because mama doesn't play new update. 3 weeks later, in-laws did sell their house. They made little to no money, as apparently they took out a cash-out refinance a few years ago. So they had no down payment for a smaller place. They are now renting an apartment as I really refused to help them financially. We did help move their crap into the new places so they didn't have to pay for movers. Basically, they were trying to live rent-free. My husband has barely spoken to them. The light bulb truly went off with all of this. So they suck. I knew it seems he finally does too, but they're not in the beach house and they won't be staying there anytime soon because I still don't trust them.
My husband Rooney, 26, male, and I, 26, female, got married earlier this year. It was a beautiful day and I felt so much love and support from both sides of our family. 2 months after our wedding day, we celebrated my birthday at my in-laws' house. It was nothing major, just a dinner and a night together with me, my husband, his mom, in 50s age, dad, in 50s age too, and sister, 22. That was the first night I noticed them referring to me as Rooney's best friend. After my birthday dinner, we were all sitting together in the living room, just chatting and having some drinks. That's when my sister-in-law got a phone call from a good friend of hers. When she answered the phone and her friend asked what she was doing, she replied that it was her brother's best friend's birthday. I had never heard anyone refer to me as Rooney's best friend. I am his wife, and before that we were engaged for over 2 years. Hearing my sister-in-law refer to me like that confused me greatly. I always refer to her as my sister-in-law, and I would expect her to do the same. Or maybe even as Rooney's wife, but certainly not best friend. After my sister-in-law hung up her phone, I asked her why she referred to me the way she did. She did not seem at all abashed. She just said, "Well, you are best friends, and that's what mom and dad call you," referring to mom-in-law and father-in-law. My sister-in-law and I are by no means very close, but we are nice to each other and have never had any fights. We just don't hang out outside of family functions because our personalities are pretty different. She's never made it seem like she was annoyed or mad at me. I decided to let it go that night, even though it weirded me out. But then it all happened again a few days ago, which is why I'm writing this post. My mom-in-law and I both work in the same industry doing similar jobs, but at different companies in the area. Sometimes our companies collaborate when we have clients who switch over. This week we had that happen, and I had to pay a visit to my mom-in-law's office to help a client transition. My mom-in-law was in the office, so I stopped by to say hello. While I was there, she introduced me to her colleague, and once again, I was perplexed by how she did it. She said, "This is my son's best friend." As I was shaking hands with the colleague, I paused and awkwardly said, "I'm his wife." The colleague looked confused, but my mom-in-law continued to smile and didn't address it. Once we were alone, I asked my mom-in-law why she referred to me like that. Just like my sister-in-law, she didn't seem to act like it was weird at all, and said the same thing. "Well, you are best friends." The only thing that I can think to explain this is that in my vows to Rooney, I promised to continue being his best friend. Nobody acted like this was odd or special, and I feel like it's a pretty common thing to put in vows. So I'm not sure why Rooney's family seems to have clung to it, unless it has nothing to do with everything. I've spoken to Rooney about this too, and he is also perplexed by it. He asked his parents privately about it, and they gave him the same answer they've been giving me. It all just feels like some sort of bullying behavior to me, but I've never felt a sense of this from them before. Are they calling me his best friend because they don't like the fact I'm his wife? Or is it some inside joke they've been in on without me? I'm not sure what to do or make of it, especially because the in-laws are acting like it's not an issue when I bring it up. Yes, I am Rooney's best friend, but I'm also his life partner, and their daughter-in-law, sister-in-law. I don't know what to do. Any input or advice would be welcome. Top comments. Commenter 1. How about just being straightforward? Yes, Rooney and I are best friends, but now that we are married, I would prefer that you refer to me as his wife, as I treasure our relationship. Thank you. Commenter 2. This seems passive-aggressive. Have your husband shut this down. Commenter 3. This is one of those situations where your husband has to forcibly tell your mother. This not only bothers my wife, it bothers me. We may be best friends, but you are going out of your way to not introduce her as my wife. And not only that, my sister is doing the same thing. I don't know why the two of you are doing it, but it stops now. I also want an explanation from the both of you, and until I get the truth, I'll be going low contact with the family. Update. Thanks to everyone who offered helpful advice and to those who have been kind in sharing their own experiences. I'm sorry to hear that this is not exactly a unique experience. Unfortunately, for my relationship with Rooney's family has hit the fan. Yesterday afternoon, Rooney and I were invited over to his parents' house for dinner. I have a big project due this week at work, so I needed to stay home and wrap it up. I told Rooney to go catch up with his family while I ordered a pizza. Apparently, this is when Rooney decided he was going to set things straight and figure out why his mom and sister keep referring to me as his best friend. Please keep in mind that I'm telling this story based on the details that my husband has given me. Rooney had a normal dinner with his folks, but they were all drinking a bit more than usual. Rooney decided to bring over some scotch that one of his groomsmen gave him for a wedding gift, so he and his dad were especially loose. Rooney and his dad tend to have guy time together after dinners, where they hang out in his dad's garage and talk about car stuff and projects at home/work. This is where Rooney confronted his dad about the whole situation. From what I can tell, it took some coaxing to get this information out of my father-in-law, but eventually he admitted to Rooney that my mom-in-law and sister-in-law and him were all in on some sort of bet as to how long mine and Rooney's marriage was going to last. Father-in-law bet that we would stay together, whereas mom-in-law bet less than 1 year, and sister-in-law bet less than 6 months. Apparently, there was a cash prize involved. I don't really want to know how much it was. Father-in-law admitted that he believes the whole best friend moniker was a way to get under my skin and cause doubts about my relationship with Rooney and his family. They think that if they acted like it was a non-issue for long enough, that it would drive me crazy and start making me angry at Rooney for not intervening. Rooney then says he stormed into the house to confront his mom about this all. It ended in a screaming match between Rooney, mom, and law, and father-in-law. Rooney eventually stormed out and walked to a nearby gas station, and from there he called me for a ride since he couldn't drive. This morning, when I drove Rooney back to get his car, we had a horribly awkward confrontation with his parents. Mom-in-law is apparently pissed at father-in-law for betraying the secret, and they were fighting about it all night. Father-in-law will be staying with us in our extra bedroom for a couple days, or until they can calm down and talk to each other again. Rooney is now set on going no contact with his mom and sister. He is angry with his father, but is more willing to forgive him. Personally, I would prefer if we saw a family therapist before doing this, but we are still ironing out the details. Hopefully we can get through this with both marriages intact. Top comments. Commenter 1. Good on him. And what the heck is wrong with the women in his family? I tell newlyweds all the time, take things their friends, family, and coworkers say with a grain of salt because you don't know what agenda they are really working on, and it's often not really for your best interests. Commenter 2. Wow. Listen, If your husband is set on going no contact with his mom and sister, respect his decision. You seem like you're trying to play peacemaker, but they have horribly disrespected you and your marriage. What they did was all kinds of screwed up. Even a father-in-law is an a-hole for his part in it, even if he was the only one on your side. Family therapy only works and helps if all parties involved are willing to try, but it frankly sounds like the women hate you, want you gone, and will never give you or your marriage a chance. Commenter 3. While the way they're treating you is abhorrent and not something I would do to a stranger or even someone I dislike, it's a whole nother level of messed up to try to sabotage their son's brother's marriage on purpose. What kind of monster actively tries to wreck their family member's life to win a bet? Gross.